That's a great question, and one that I want to answer really honestly. Um, so I still do quite a bit of sort of meditation and journaling, and I always want to start my mornings that way. That is something that I genuinely do. And I think that sets me up to have a bit more mindfulness and kind of like be aware of um, where I want that day to go, you know?
Okay.
And I always try, and keyword try, have a lunch break and go outside in that lunch break, even if it's just like for 10 minutes to like do an errand or whatever in the post office, but need to go outside, need to go and see, um, um, walk out of, get out of the co-working space, get out of the studio and actually go somewhere. Um, and I am just trying to say no to more things as well. So I think that's a big one for me, is actually from that place of I don't need to be hustling. So I can actually go, no, actually, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that event. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So I'm saying no more, I think.
Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. My today's guest is an absolutely amazing creative, originally from Portugal, but she was also raised in China. She now lives in London, so that's kind of the whole world in one person. She did so many great creative things. We are going to touch upon some of them. She was head of design in Financial Times. She's now running her own agency. There's so many things I could actually say about her clients, how many of them are, but you can also Google all of that. We are going into some more interesting things here. Teresa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's absolutely a pleasure. I was researching everything I could, about you, and there's so many interesting things and so many different things. But I want to start with what I said. You are from Lisbon, and you were also raised, well, a part of your childhood you spent in China. Then you went to London. How did all these places, influence you in a personal and also in a creative life?
Oh, that's such a good question. And I tell you one thing, it's not one I get asked too many times.
Okay.
And I think that it's really, really actually quite important, and quite formative. So yes, I'm originally from Lisbon. I was in Lisbon until I was 5. And then my mum had to go and work in China, in Macau, which at the time was still a Portuguese colony, which is not great. Bit of colonialism there, but yeah, I was 5 years old, so obviously I went with my mum.
Yeah.
My parents got divorced, so it was quite quite like a left field thing. But my mum's always been quite, you know, going for it, and she's always been very career driven. So
Okay.
I was there till I was 9, and it was really, really quite formative, I would say, because I just remember my mum was, as I mentioned, a career woman, and kind of like really busy all the time. And so I was left alone with my nanny, who was Filipino, and shout out to Dolly. I'm still in contact with her. Occasionally we
Oh,
email
that's
each
so
other.
nice.
And she was a wonderful lady. She is a wonderful lady, who would drag me around the markets in Macau. And, I got to actually feel and see a lot of the memories I have. Obviously there's like the colonial bubble, which was, quite Portuguese and, culturally, but then I actually got to see other pots through, just hanging out with my nanny. So, um, um, and I think that made me really quite, it opened my mind about as to, oh, hang on, so I can have a career and I can also go abroad. And, as I mentioned, my parents were divorced. So, um, um, my mum would ship me in a, in an airplane to Portugal every summer, and I would spend my summers
Okay.
with my dad and then go back. But, I've been traveling on my own for quite a long haul flights since I've been 5. So I've always been quite independent. And I think that kind of like really helped, my curiosity, my, desire for financial freedom and financial independence. And that really opened and broadened my mind, I would say. And then I went back to Portugal. We went back to Portugal, obviously with my mom as well. And I was there until I was 21, which was when I moved to England. I did kind of like, college, all that stuff. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
at uni, um, I was always very kind of discouraged to do art stuff, even though I was very good at drawing, and not beyond being very good, because kids are, good. You can't be good or bad as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was always drawing. That's the thing. I would,
Okay.
I would be drawing all the time, and I got discouraged from quite a close, caretaking person in my family, to pursue it. And, I kind of just drop it. I was kind of like, oh, okay, so I have to do this academic thing. This is what we do, because, my mom's an economist, my dad's a doctor. So it's very, very sort of academic family,
Wow.
very sort of, matter of fact, and
Yeah, yeah.
get a real job kind of thing. Um, so I went to uni, and, I kind of like landed on archaeology, because I've always been really, really fascinated with history and storytelling. But again, I was like, history's not right. So maybe I'll try archaeology, because it's a bit more practical. And, when I was doing that in Portugal, you have to go, to archaeological digs, and there I started drawing again, because
Oh,
you needed
nice.
people to do like the technical architectural drawing of the structures and the artifacts that were being dug and discovered. And, I would kind of like, as soon as I was like, yes, please, can I start doing that? And then from then I was kind of like, okay, last year of university, I'm actually going to look for something that will let me draw, and do it in the evenings. So I joined a scientific illustration course, because again, I can't veer too much from, too far away from the academia.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very, kind of straight and narrow. So I did it, and it was the best thing ever. It's taught by this really incredible Portuguese scientific illustrator called Pedro Salgado, and he's specialist in drawing fish. But as part of that year, in the evenings, we were kind of like encouraged to find out the things that we wanted to draw. Mine were kind of like plants. That was like my jam. And then I built up the portfolio. I looked up, okay, how can I pursue the, illustration and the drawing, but in a archaeological setting. So then I found the masters in archaeological illustration, which I got into through the portfolio that I built with the scientific illustration course, and obviously the stuff that I was doing in the archaeological digs as well. And then got in, and it was life changing, because, things, I mean, in Portugal, the academic system is quite restrictive and encourages you to be very kind of one lane. And
Okay.
I think that, as soon as I started the masters, I was like really kind of encouraged to find my own way and find my point of view. And I think that was really, really important, because as a creative, without having a point of view, you're just doing things
Yeah.
that
From the brief, and that's it.
that can replicate, can be replicated by anyone. So that was really kind of, marrying that to my passion for storytelling, my passion for humans, me being a bit of a geek in general. Then I kind of started doing illustration, but then as soon as I got my hands on Photoshop, I was like, wow, I can actually do the collages I was doing, because as I mentioned, I was discouraged from drawing. So what I did, I guess, creatively, when I was growing up, before I did the evening course, was I would all do like collages and put them all over. My room was like full of collages, but it wasn't just like, the boy bands and stuff like that. Of course, there was some element of it.
There was okay.
There was some element of it. But I really always enjoyed mixing words and photography, and doing compositions and layouts, and that's always been something I've seeked, either in physical collages, on photography when I really got into it. And anyway, so it was always like a thing that blew my mind when I got into Photoshop, and I was like, I can, like, it's limitless. I can genuinely just mix whatever I want and put whatever I want together. So then I did my my whole like thesis was in kind of like approaching the archaeological illustrations through a postmodernist lens. So kind of like applying graphic language that was contemporary, and at the time it was kind of like the mixed media, and kind of that was the crafty. It's now back in fashion, but that was really kind of the jam and at the time. So so that was what I specialized in, and I did some work for the Cirencester Museum, like their museum graphics, and that was where I fell in love with graphic design, because I was kind of like, oh, hang on, there's a reason why I've always loved the words as well, and not just like the drawings. And then kind of when I moved to London, I then also realized that there was more jobs in graphic design than there was in illustration, and it just came more naturally to me to be on that side rather than just the illustration side. So started freelancing, and then got my first full-time job was like in a charity for Diabetes UK, and it was at the time where apps and stuff, everyone was doing an app and they were creating an app, and I was I've always been quite techie, so I was, as soon as I got my own website done, I was like, okay, I want to learn this. So I've always been like an integrated designer, always doing offline and online stuff. So they hired me for it, and then my career kind of took off from there. And I worked in an agency after that. I worked for a startup, and then fell into the Financial Times and stayed there for 7 years. I joined as a senior designer, then nearly a year later got promoted to head of design, and it was a brilliant job. Loved it, but like everything and anything, you kind of get to a crossroads in your life, and you have to decide what you want to do and what's fulfilling you, what's not. And I had to kind of start my own thing.
Yeah. That's quite, there are a couple of things I want to go back in this short introduction. I have to say first, it's quite an unusual way to go back to design, to drawing after, you draw in childhood, then you gave up on that, and then through the archaeology, which you don't really expect that it will lead you towards design. But in the end, you ended up there, and that's such a cool thing. What I want, your current, I don't know, I would say attitude towards work and businesses and towards your clients is to actually try to build sustainable brands and to build timeless brands. Do you think your childhood, especially in China, on those markets and everything, made you look at the world a bit differently and to look towards that sustainability, towards nature? You said you liked illustrating plans and everything. Did that lead towards you being into more sustainable brands?
I guess so. Yeah. I think I've never thought about it that way, but, yeah, I think that really, really kind of influenced me. I mean, um, I'd say as well that I've always been quite outdoorsy and quite like, nature has always been important for me. I've always, um, you know, I grew up by the sea as well. So it
Yeah,
was, really kind of always important for me to have that side of things. And I think that as well, I think having the background or and the interest in something historic um makes me want makes me realize as well, and I think that, I mean, we all do to a certain extent, but makes me perhaps like think more of that legacy piece of thing, and also kind of it makes me question what makes something timeless, what makes something high end, what makes something make a real impact in culture and society. And I think that that does stem from, yes, my connection to nature, my kind of almost philosophical need to be of purpose somehow. And then that interest in kind of seeing, oh, hang on, we're seeing this and this is now trending, but it was actually trending, centuries ago with this
yeah,
or with
yeah.
that. There's always like, you can always find the equivalents, and there's always like and that kind of, that's why I love branding so much. Because you can really, I like the overview, and I'm a generalist. So that's always I've been an integrated designer because I've never been able to, some people are specialists and they're amazing at it, but I always enjoyed the overarching story, the sort of the things that move people a bit deeper. That's always fascinated me, the fact that brands are now almost beyond just a design and beyond it. They're like an experience, they're a feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that in modern society, in a capitalist society, um, people seek that meaning, isn't it? And they find it in many, many places. But one of the places that they find that meaning and that tribal need that we have of belonging, they do it through branding, and they do it through the brands they buy from. They do it through the stuff that it really transcends the design and the creative side almost. It's like something quite human, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, it's if you try to make them, to do a brand and to create that story and something that will actually, live on a bit longer than a couple of years, then it's definitely, in that line. What I want to touch also from your introduction, and I've read it in a couple of interviews you gave before, the imposter syndrome was always there, especially because you were an immigrant in the United Kingdom. But do you think it also came from having really high educated and successful parents as well?
Yes. I mean, of course it did. Yeah. 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 So, of course it does come from the fact that, I don't come from design, I come from
Yeah,
a very different, non-traditional way into this. So that's always made me feel quite, especially when I left the big brands, I mean, now I work with big brands, but as a like consultant or whatever, but,
yeah,
when I'm, you kind of, when you're in a big corporation, you kind of hide behind the big brand, and you're kind of almost like validated, this big institution believes in me and hires me and pays me, and I do work for them. And when you're like, okay, now it's time for me to go on my own, then you're like, oh, this is just me now. And everyone's going to find out that, maybe I'm not that good, or maybe I'm not
Yeah.
succeed, or maybe this, or maybe that. And, um, and yes, it does stem from like being raised in a household where, of high achievers, of people who aren't that acquainted with, professional failure.
Yeah.
And
I can
also
imagine only. Yeah.
not very entrepreneurial at all. Both my parents are very, very sort of, you have a career and that's what you do. You just follow the career, you follow the path. But unfortunately, or fortunately, in my case, I'd say, that's not how the modern career works. We all have portfolio careers to a certain
Yeah.
extent, and you got to do what makes you happy as well. So
That's true. Absolutely. Um, that kind of, I would say, from what I read and the conclusions I came to, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I might be. But all of that led you to a couple of huge burnouts in your career. And is that also the reason why you left corporate world and started your own design agency?
yeah, I'd say so, 100%. So I had one big burnout. My first one was kind of like at this agency I was working at. It was sort of um, it was we were really busy, and it was just kind of hectic and not very well structured. And we were all kind of, and basically there was just like me and this other guy who were the creative team, and we just had to turn so much things around, and it was crazy and hectic. And I kind of like was so glad when the timings just aligned with the FT, like headhunting me and stuff. So that was like really, really cool. That I got like the call from the recruiter on the week that I was like, okay, I need a break from this place. And then my other burnout was, so at the FT after COVID, I was sort of seeking more fulfillment, because I guess the higher up you get, the less hands-on you get as well. And, the more admin you have to do as well,
Yeah.
the team. And that's always been a little bit draining for me. I think whilst I'm quite good at sort of motivating and inspiring, onto like a vision, the day to day grind of, so and so high up wants this, and that's not going to go with the guys that I'm managing, and
Yeah.
and you're stuck in the middle. Um, yeah, it was just like quite intense, and we had a lot of work on as well. And I had asked my boss to condense my week to 4 days, so I was doing my full-time job in
Oh, wow.
4 days, so like longer days. And then on Fridays, I was doing freelancing because I was like, I wanted to dip my toe, like kind of see how it goes
Yeah. Yeah.
before I quit anything, because I've always been so paranoid about, not being financially independent, that, that was a big thing for me. And I think probably 6 to 8 months into this system, I totally burnt out. I was just so tired, and there was just like, because I had loads of work with the freelance stuff, and then it was kind of getting a bit too hectic at the FT. We were at this crossroads where a few people left the team. We had to hire people quickly. They weren't the right people. There was a lot of like, back and forth and admin stuff to do. I was just like, I, I went to the doctor because I was just like, I can't, I stopped sleeping for, for like think,
Wow.
week. Yeah, I think I had like really bad insomnia and I was really worried. So I went to the doctor. I was like, I can't sleep. What's going on? And then after a few questions, the doctor was like, you're actually burning out. I need to sign you off for stress. And you need to just chill out for at least 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I did that. I tried to chill out as much as I could, even though
Was it successful or?
I think when you're in that kind of state, you're just frazzled. I think that also, yeah, I was so worried about making the right decision then that I was just speaking to lots of people and finding out, is there going to be more work? What's happening there? And what can I do? So I was just trying to like figure out what could be plan B that wasn't the corporate world. And then after that happened, I handed in my resignation because I was like, this is it. This is the moment where I can choose to stay where I am. And it's a job that I can do very easily, but that doesn't fulfill me anymore. I need to create. I need to be able to apply my vision. And I never looked back.
What I also wanted to ask you, because I've read in a Q&A you did with Creative Boom, and it was really, there were like 3 questions published on the website, and I will quote you on one thing.
Oh, God.
Because I'm still, it's about the balance in people's lives and the balance you are looking for. And I still haven't found that. There are days when I work 12 hours. There are days when my husband tells me like, okay, just turn off the computer. It's too much. There are days when I don't work at all. So, it's still a work in progress for me. But you said that balance for you looks like this. It's a day where I wake up energized, go for a walk in nature, then have a breakfast, then do a bit of journaling or meditation. I get a few solid hours of focused work, then break for a healthy lunch with a friend, perhaps a couple of sparky meetings in the afternoon, followed by some physical activity, gym, Pilates, then a very ordinary evening of house chores, reading, cooking, and an early night. That seems so many different things for a balanced life to me. Like, how is that even possible? Did you ever get to that point that you
No,
feel that it's balanced?
impossible. No, that was the high achiever in me going,
Okay.
this is what a perfect day looks like. And I have to say that that was if I've been doing a lot of work on myself because that quest for balance is really hard to find. And like you, there are days where I'll be working, the 12-hour shifts, and it'll be like, oh my God, I haven't even got up to get a glass of water in the last 6 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where has the time gone? And then there are days where I'm just like, oh God, there's nothing to do. I'm going to make up something to do. So it is. I think that when I wrote that, I was like, this is my ideal. This is what I need to strive for. But as you said, and so right, there's so many things in that day.
Yes.
I mean, I get home exhausted because it's like
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm meditating, I'm exercising, I'm eating healthy. It's just completely unrealistic. And for many, I would say for the first part, maybe perhaps until like a year ago, I was still trying to do it. I was just like, and every day I would get to the end of the day with a feeling of failure because I hadn't meditated or exercised, or I hadn't eaten very healthy, or I hadn't had a good meeting, or all these things that are completely out of our control and completely. Yeah, I think since I wrote that, I have really let go of that perfectionism that I had. It's taken a lot of work. Don't get me wrong.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy when you're like, because also when you're on your own as well. So, uh, uh, when you start doing it without like a big agency or a big company, and you're building your own studio, you're kind of like, um, I I have to do all of this, otherwise it's not going to happen. But actually, and I must say this, that um, as soon as I started letting go a bit of that idea of what a perfect day was, or what a perfect project was, of what a perfect whatever was, I've actually started attracting more like better clients, better opportunities, more things that are aligned with my skill set and what is actually different from Ferrgood Studio. Uh, so yeah, it's been a journey, and my goodness, that is a hilarious answer.
Yeah, yeah. But there's this what I just, thought about. It's kind of a creative thing, but do you think that by having these ideals, we are actually setting ourselves up for a failure?
I mean, of
As you
course,
said, I mean, that was such a good thing because you had this ideal of what a beautiful, perfect, balanced day would look like. And each day you would come home and say, oh, I didn't meditate it. This was not a good day, no matter how many good things you did.
exactly. Yeah, because it's human nature, isn't it? We're going to always focus. We're wired biologically to always identify the danger and always identify the negative. That's why you can get 10 compliments on your work, and then someone says one negative thing, and guess what you're going to be thinking for months, years,
Yeah,
maybe. You're thinking about that negative comment that you had. But, never mind the thousands, millions of nice things that people said to you. So of course, I was setting myself for failure every day because I'd have like these like really type A calendar. I mean, I'm still pretty type A. My calendar is still pretty type A, but guess what? If I have some sort of, I'm way more flexible than I was before. I think it was just like, it's the road to burnout really. It's like that. I have to do all of
absolutely.
this, and if I don't do all of this, then I'm a failure, and then I'm a failure, and then you're always like in this like frantic energy of hustle as well. I was always like kind of, oh, I need to hustle, but then I'm really bad at hustling, and and I don't like it as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, I understand that part absolutely.
It's just not me.
That's yeah, yeah. I mean, it's such a good lesson, for especially for young people. I mean, just and do you think it comes that you said that you're not hustling person and you don't like it because you're from Portugal, not just Portugal, but from the southern Europe?
Mm.
Because I
Yeah.
have that feeling in Spain that people just like to live a bit slower.
Mm.
No matter it's young people, older people, everyone just wants to live a bit slower.
Yeah.
Did that come from that part, or you have learned not to hustle in the meantime?
I think I was always a little bit like, trying to achieve always a lot and stuff. So in that sense, the hustle was always kind of a little bit in me, even though I'm from, that's why I could never really work in Portugal, because like it is that kind of environment that, um, is not, it is slower and things are a little bit more, not not as advanced as other places, um because also Portugal is this size, tiny country,
Small
and
country.
we
Well,
only really have a creative industry in Lisbon and Porto. I'm sorry to the other places. I'm sure that there's amazing creatives in other places,
yeah,
and there are,
absolutely, there are.
but the industry is only in these two tiny cities. So you can imagine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just yeah. But I think that in my ideal life now, I do have a slower life, and that's something that I want to have and that I want to embrace more, because um, I think that we need it. I think that I'm hoping I'm a little bit of an optimist and a little sometimes delusional about uh, uh, how things can progress and how things can be good for us. And in a world where AI is taking over, I'm hoping that it really just frees up our brains and our time a bit more to enjoy life more and get rid of like the really mundane tasks. Obviously, it's not, that's not how it's panning out and that's not how it's working. But I do believe that whilst things are happening, like big revolutions, like, we've had the internet, we have AI now.
Yeah,
Um, it's important to try and look at, okay, things are going all this way, but actually, is there another way of doing it? Could we do this in a better way for everyone? Can everyone benefit from this revolution and not just the billionaire tech bros? Right?
absolutely.
So that's, also one thing that I hope for, is that we all get to live a little bit more like, Southern Europe,
Yeah,
Mediterranean
yeah.
people,
I'm all for it,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons I moved to Madrid. It's just, even though it's, one of the biggest cities in Europe and 3 million people is here, but the life is so different comparing to, I don't know, Berlin, Paris, Amsterdam. It's so much slower, and people just tend to leave work, after those hours. Even if they are freelancers, they try to, have that time for themselves
Yeah.
and actually go out with friends, watch, I don't know, especially now, watch football, watch everything that's happening, and just hang around with other people. And that's one of the things I absolutely love here. So yeah, I am all for a more relaxed life. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I love Madrid. I have to say that I'm a very big fan of Madrid. I'm always one of those people that was always like, okay, yeah, Barcelona is really nice, but I prefer Madrid.
Yeah,
So,
me too. So true. I mean, Barcelona is beautiful,
yeah,
the architecture and everything, but Madrid is
gorgeous.
just, there's
Madrid,
so much more life in Madrid. Yeah, absolutely.
there is more life. There's just more culture, more things happening. It is, as you said, it's huge. It's a huge city.
Yeah.
And it's like culturally, yeah, amazing. I think that it must be really cool to live there.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, I've said it in so many interviews by now. I've probably bored people so much of talking about Madrid, but I feel so good here. And as you said, there's so many good things happening, so many cultural activities. It's such a huge city. You can go do so many different things, and I absolutely love it. Love it here. But so is London, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Except for the slow life, I think.
So yeah, that's the thing, You
Okay.
really have to, in London, it's not organic. The slow life is not organic. It's actually anti-organic. People, because in Madrid, I guess you can be a bit more spontaneous as well, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, so and so are over there. Let's go and meet them. And there's like no need to forward plan. But
Yeah.
here in London, everyone's conditioned to, if you're going to do something, if you're going to see someone, you have to like book it,
Oh,
weeks in advance. And sometimes, guess what? It gets to that time and you don't want to be doing that because you want to be doing something else. And I really, really wish that we had that more, like that kind of, oh, everyone's going there, let's go over there. But no, you have to be more organized and therefore more contrived and
yeah.
therefore, yeah. But on the other hand, I absolutely love London. I've been here for, God, 19 years.
Oh, wow.
And it has really been, I feel like a Londoner, now, because it is just like a melting pot of everything and everyone. And I just really notice it when I'm not when I'm not in a place that's like so cosmopolitan and so diverse, and where you can, where you're like engaging and connecting with people from all backgrounds and all religions and all, that kind of, I think it only happens in big cities and cosmopolitan cities. And creatively, that's very, very sort of sparky, like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
always like something to do or something but yeah, you do have to be very organized. And
Yeah.
that kind of annoys me. That's still something that I will always be a bit like, you know, why do I have to do this? Oh, because
Yeah, yeah.
a month ago, and now if I cancel it, I have to wait another
Yeah.
month until you can see this person. It's like, why do we always agree to this? But yeah, that's like the
That's Yeah, I mean, it's so funny you said a month in advance, and I was just, a friend texted me this morning and said, "Hey, I'm having this, I have to do this close to your neighborhood. Do you want to hang out after that?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. I have recording podcast until around 6, and I'm free after that." So it's just like that, You go out and
really
it,
easy,
yeah,
right?
so easy. That's so true. When we are in that easy, what are some of the things that you are trying to push into your life that are, that you are, the ways in which you are trying to slow down that big, fast, cosmopolitan London life?
Um, so that's a great question, and one that I want to answer really honestly. Um, so I still do quite a bit of sort of meditation and journaling, and I always want to start my mornings that way. That is something that I genuinely do. And I think that sets me up to have a bit more mindfulness and kind of like be aware of um, where I want that day to go, you know?
Okay.
And I always try, and keyword try, have a lunch break and go outside in that lunch break, even if it's just like for 10 minutes to like do an errand or whatever in the post office. But need to go outside, need to go and see, um, um, walk out of, get out of the co-working space, get out of the studio and actually go somewhere. Um, and I am just trying to say no to more things as well. So I think that's a big one for me, is actually from that place of I don't need to be hustling. So I can actually go, no, actually, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that event. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So I'm saying no more, I think.
Okay. Before I just reply to that, I need to apologize for the noise. If you can hear it, I'm not sure. I live in this really urban part of the town where we have some concerts right outside in front of a museum. So if it
Oh,
gets
right.
noisy, yeah, sorry about that.
No, I can't hear anything
Oh, wow. Okay, then great.
at all,
Um,
really.
yeah, I can hear the drums and the bass guitar and everything here. Yeah. What I wanted to connect in that part, a more practical advice. Well, I am asking it for myself. Journaling has always been something I wanted to incorporate in my life, as you said, to set the tone for the day.
Hmm.
How do you make it a habit? What's your way to, have it, do it like the first or second thing in the morning and do it day by day?
So what I do is when I'm out of the habit, I just give myself 10 minutes, set a timer for 10 minutes. And then even if it's not in the morning at different times, whatever, just like go and do it. But what help I do it in the morning because then you can think about, what would I like this day to look like? What did I wake up thinking of? Why did I wake up thinking of this? And then kind of sit with it a little bit. And I think having it by your desk, by the place that you're going to start working, or at least the place that you're going to start organizing your day. That's a big thing.
Okay.
And I think as well, it's such a personal practice as well that I think that for some people, some people do the thing called like the morning pages where they religiously write 3 pages of just like whatever's on their mind, like streams of conscience. Some people like asking questions and then kind of answering them, and that kind of like pushing to like that sort of reflection. I quite like doing a little bit of both. So some days, so say I've dreamt of something, or I woke up thinking of or worried about a specific thing, then I'll be like, okay, why is this? Why, then I'll ask my question and try and get
Okay.
to why I thought of it. And then some other days I just wake up and I'm just like, it just pours out of me. So it really, there's different ways of doing it, and you kind of have to just go with the flow and respect your preferences, really.
Okay. We'll give it a try and put it on my desk. Like I have it, I have like this really fancy like journal and I
Yeah,
have the pen and everything, but I will put it on my keyboard or somewhere just like to stop me from checking those metrics we talked about before.
exactly. Before you do that, just spend 10 minutes writing about yourself, or something that happened, or
Will do. Absolutely will do. I also have, I could have asked you like so many different questions but I love the conversation. I love how it's going. But I will not keep you for too long. I do have 2 more, hoping that I will have the opportunity like in a year or something to ask the other questions I had. Um, if you had to delete all your work, everything you've done creatively, what is one piece of work, one project, one, I don't know, illustration you made that nobody saw that you would like to keep for yourself?
oh, that's such a good question. Okay, I got it. Nothing design related, actually. It's a life drawing I did at university,
Oh, wow.
where I used my I had a brilliant drawing teacher at uni, life drawing teacher at uni, and he Graham is not with us anymore, but he was an incredible Graham Smith. I need to shout him out because he was
Okay.
genuinely the biggest encourager. He was just like an incredible mentor. And he kept on saying to me, he was like, you can't see what's in front of you. Because I kept on just drawing from my right side of the brain, the one that I was like, no, it's like this. So this is what, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like, he was like, no, you have to see. And then one day he was like, you need a bigger canvas. I know what the problem is. You need a bigger canvas and you need less control in the tool. So he put a bit of charcoal in sort of like a bamboo stick,
Okay.
taped it, and gave me like an A1 or A0
Okay.
sheet of paper, and I had to draw on the floor looking at. And that drawing was like the best drawing I've ever done. And
Wow.
it's massive though. So
Yeah.
it's huge. But I was so proud of it because he came to me at the end of the class and he was like, that's it. You've seen it now. Finally, we got to and from that on, that was kind of like the watershed moment for me where I was like, I was pretending I knew what was there, but actually
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to let go and just like almost hypnotize yourself with get out of the thinking mind
Yeah, yeah.
and go into the
That's
feeling mind.
that's such a good thing. Do you still have the draw? I mean,
Oh,
I guess
dude,
you.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. So it's
Okay.
like folded in a big portfolio suitcase.
Oh, that's really really good. And one last question is, what advice would you give to 8 or 10-year-old Teresa?
Oh, that's. Mm, I would tell her to never stop drawing.
Good one, good one.
Never stop drawing, or regardless of whatever anyone says, just like carry on doing it. Don't be embarrassed of your. Be proud of your work. Be proud of what you do. That's what I do. I tell her
Absolutely
to
beautiful.
not stop listening to the haters, even if the haters come in caretaking roles sometimes, you're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back to, you never, that's why people have their families and their chosen families, isn't it? Because
absolutely true. Absolutely. Oh God, I love that. I mean, I've said something similar in an interview like a couple of weeks back, and that's so true. I mean, not real, but families you are born into and families you picked and you chosen. That's absolutely beautiful. Um, Thank you so much for this conversation. I really, really had an absolutely beautiful time. And I really hope we do catch up at some point, to see how things are going. Is the balance better? Are you having more of those things in your life? So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I hope you had at least half of the
oh,
time as I did,
I loved it, Alan. I could have spoken to you for hours on end.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're definitely checking in after this, and
Absolutely.
definitely because I would love to carry on, stay connected for sure. It's been,
Uh,
I loved it how deep you wanted to go as well. So I'm all for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And well, I hope everyone will enjoy it. And thank you, Teresa, once again. And bye bye, everyone.
Thank you.